So we've got a 2XL t-shirt here. I'm just gonna do an ice dye. I'm really trying to master that flowy watercolor look that I have not been able to. I've gotten it a couple times, but I really don't feel like I can replicate it with any amount of reliability. So I'm gonna try again today, and I'm gonna show you what I am doing, partly to document it for myself. So if it works out, then I can come back and look at this video and try to do it again, and also for your sake. So if it works out, it's good for both of us, you and me, and hopefully we will both learn some things along the way. All right, I'm gonna set up my space and then I'll just jump right into it. Today I'm using a rack so that the ice will melt and drip through, so it's not gonna be sitting in any kind of muck. I want the colors to be as flowy and clean as possible. So I'm just scrunching this up. I'm trying to make some even scrunches. And I'm also going to try something new where I go underneath and pull some of the sections down further so they'll hang lower than the rest of the shirt. I'm just looking to create as much depth as possible. So I'm going to try that today. These are I think they're called magic tracks. They were just laying around. Nobody was using them in our house anymore. I think you can still get them on Amazon if you think that this would be helpful for you. It works pretty well for holding the ice up. It's not perfect. I think there are some other options. Some people use like cardboard that's sitting around. They just cut it to shape and then tape it up. This first color is Seafoam. It's a really nice light greenish blue. It's also a great powder for sprinkling. This next color is Peacock Blue. It's pretty bright and it's a pretty color, just using a little bit of it. And the last color I'm using is called Imperial Purple. It's a very dark purple, and I'm trying to use these two sparingly because I don't want them to overwhelm the piece. And here's what it looks like all set up. It's much less dye than I normally use. And we're also going to take a look at the underneath part where I've pulled down some of the fabric. This is what it looks like after the ice has fully melted. It's looking pretty good, nice color on the top, and this is also what it looks like underneath. I do see some white areas, but I'm hoping it will be a good balance of white and color, but we'll just have to see after the rinse. Okay, the shirt is done and it's time to analyze the results and see what we might do differently, what turned out well. So my main goal is I wanted to have flowy results, kind of like this area where you can see some lines. See if there's a better spot we can find. Okay, so right here is a good example of what I'm going for. You see these long flowy spots where the color was dripping a long distance and it kind of like it pulled the color. I want this in more places, and this happens to be one of the spots that I pulled down through the grates. So that is a good thing. I'm gonna do that again in the future. It's working up here again, so there's that. I didn't love how the purple kind of like didn't want to move. I don't know what's happening because it just looks kind of blotchy. Just these blobs of purple, although when you zoom in that does look pretty cool. But yeah, I guess it's totally subjective. You can decide what you think. So yeah, up here again you can see a bit of movement. There could be more contrast in there. Adding a tiny bit of black probably would have helped with that, but yeah, I think the sapphire blue is a good option for the flowy effect. Seafoam doesn't have a ton of detail in it, but it also plays really nicely with purple. So let's check this out over here. So this color from the Seafoam, it reads as green. When you look at it, you see green, but it's light enough and subtle enough that when it touches the purple areas, it still looks nice. Normally green and purple would make brown. So if you used like a more overt green color up here and it was right next to the purple, you'd probably get some brown. So I like the Seafoam for that, so that you can have green and purple in the same shirt and those colors will play nicely and look nice. So there's that. But the Seafoam is not going to give you a ton of detail and contrast. It's more like an accent color. So I can back up a little more and show you the rest of the shirt, the full effect. I think it's pretty. I'm definitely gonna try to recreate those flowy spots. And I think when you're in Facebook groups and you see people talking about the tall, deep scrunch method, I think that's the whole thing. That's how you do it. You need to have really tall folds. So these tiny little folds, I think that's what got me these blotchy areas. So I'm gonna try to do taller folds. Okay, flip the shirt around just so we can look at a couple nice spots on the back of the shirt. So here's some places where I think the purple was a little lighter in application and we got some nice flowy effects here. Where else? This is really interesting. So this is where the folds were not quite as tall. Got some cool, I like how it's like the edge right here is dark, but it's lighter in here and lighter in here. That's definitely from the ice dripping and washing out some of the color that it deposited at first. So that's cool. Also, I think you're gonna get this dark, these edges right here are most likely because this is purple and this has green and they're trying to make brown, but it's not reading as brown, it's reading as just a darker color. So any color theory experts out there, don't come after me for the way I just explained that. So yeah, here we've got a nice flowy spot. Unfortunately, it's in the armpit, so you're probably never gonna see it. So yeah, looking pretty cool. So in conclusion, the main thing I will do different in the future for my own preferences is I will use more dye and ice. I like some of the details that we achieved here, but I want it to be darker. Kind of like this shirt. See these dark details here? I wish the whole shirt could look like this and not have these white spaces. So I'm gonna keep trying and I'll keep reporting back with results. Tag me if you do something like this and it turns out more saturated so I can see what to try next. All right, have a great day, everybody.